So ask yourself, why do so many musicians feel like they're not good enough and are afraid to share their music or try new things? This is something I think we all deal with at one time or another. And it kind of makes me think of when we first decided to be excited about music and start our journey in music. We particularly did not care about the outcome, right? You got started, you learned a few songs real quick, or you learned how to use a machine real fast. And in the first couple of months, you were able to produce something basic. And you shared it with everyone, and you could give two shits about what anybody thought, right? The joy was the creation part. The joy was that you were doing the thing that you enjoyed doing, and your creativity seemed to be boundless, right? It seemed like a bottomless hole, a rabbit hole that had no bottom. But tell me this, why when, as we get more skills, as we learn more, that initial euphoria fades away? And then we get overwhelmed with quality and skill and acceptability and likability. And those things are living rent-free in our heads most of the time. Why? When does it switch? What happens? Are we traumatized by somebody telling us the first time they don't like something we covet the most? We become insecure as we learn? I don't know what the answer to that question is, but I have a few concepts in mind for us all to kind of help us navigate through these kind of things. I'm plagued by it all the time, and I'm currently at a point where I struggle just sitting down and making it for the sake of making it, just being creative and enjoying the process. As I stated in the beginning, just the joy of it, not giving two shits about it. Just make it and let it be what it is. Now I'm very critical, very judgmental about the work that I do. And a part of that could be perfectionism, right? We may get to a point where we over-focus on perfectionism, which in my opinion is a mask for insecurity and a mask for, what they call it, impostor syndrome, having all these things not line up. So the default is to project that it's not ready, it's not right. And you wind up spinning your wheels, not achieving anything, hiding all of your music, and feeling disgusted about the shit that you do. So, fear and judgment. Worrying about criticism from others. Why do we care about what people think? Why is that so important to us? Why does it matter so much? And I think I have part of an answer. I think it's because we believe that our creativity that's grown inside of us, what we create, I think we believe that to be more than what it really is. An example of that I can give you is, as a producer, a songwriter, whatever, if you spend a month on a song and you get it to a point where you're so happy with it and you let somebody hear it and they're like, it's cool, I like it, right? As opposed to you may spend 5 seconds on a song, run out the house, go play it for somebody, and they'll be like, that is amazing. Why? Like, what's going on with that? So the point I'm trying to make is, why do we put so much value in the time we spend making music? I think we overvalue time spent. Gear, that's another one. I made something on all this fancy gear. And these kind of things lead us to putting way more value into things that shouldn't be, therefore creating a projection on judgment. What we're really doing, we're judging ourselves falsely. That's a horrible thing to do, right? It's not the time we spend that's important. It's not the gear that we pay for that's important. Do you like the music enough to sit down and create it worry-free, right? We just need to be positive on the creation part and not caring how the tools we use makes it, because it really doesn't matter. So another aspect, which is very troublesome for us creators, is perfectionism, right? We will say something isn't ready. We'll say that we don't have the mindset or skill set enough, or we don't have the right piece of gear again to bring the art to light, which isn't true at all, right? We micro focus on a particular thing because we hear it's not right, and we'll latch on to that and lie to ourselves and say, this is not ready, you're not good enough, you're a fraud, you're a fake. This happens all the time, right? Some of us snap out of it really quick. Some of us are good enough to avoid it, but a lot of us, this happens quite often. I think it's normal, but I think it's healthy to have a network of musicians and individuals who can keep you solid and keep you honest. That's why I think, the term the band room is kind of like a good thing, because it checks egos, it checks insecurities, and it keeps people highlighted on the output rather than structure and dynamics and all that kind of stuff. You got to make sure that you continue to output. And I was in a couple of bands, and insecurity is always a strong point in a band. There's always somebody, I don't feel like my solos are good enough, or I feel like I'm holding the band back. I need to study more, practice more. And it's a hindrance, right? Can't be so hell-bent on perfectionism. Got to be comfortable with being okay with being mediocre. I think mediocre is great. We all want to be superstars. We all want to be legends, and we're not, right? We can count legends on two hands, right? But there are thousands of mediocre and good musicians out there that are doing crazy great stuff. So perception, perfectionism, impostor syndrome is killing our work. And that brings me to another point. Comparing ourselves to other people. Dangerous work. Other people that we compare ourselves to, usually our idols, people that we look up to. They've achieved accolades, they've gone through the gauntlets, and they might have a particular set of skills that are natural to them, better to them, that comes easier to them than other people. And what gives us the right to sit and compare ourselves to them when we don't have those same kind of attributes? And what good does it do to compare ourselves? I think there's a quote that I really like. It says, comparison is the thief of joy. And that couldn't be more true, right? We sit and we try to measure up, and then you're not, because it's two separate things. And you wind up deflating yourself, discouraging yourself, falling apart, and quitting a lot of things and focusing on something entirely different. Do not compare yourself. You are unique. We are unique. We are individual. And it's okay to be inspired, but we don't need to live in the shadows of our idols or try to measure up. That's normal. We're all human beings. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to be called out for doing something wrong. And this is where I think being transparent and having accountability can do the best thing for you, because in the end, nobody really cares whether you fail or not, right? The only person who really cares is you, who's receiving the failure. But I think if we learn to channel that into growth, that's going to give us such a strong mindset to where we'll throw something out there. I'll join that group that I didn't think that I was, or try out for that group that I didn't think I was good for, or I'll go sit in on an open mic night and jam a little bit, even though I thought my skills weren't better. The feedback that you'll get from that and the effort that you put in saying, no matter what, I'm going to do it, that's going to give you so much more strength, so much more value than thinking inside of four walls and never leaving them. Horrible thing to do. Fear is definitely the mind killer. So here's just a few notes that I wrote I think that are pretty cool on failure. Mistakes are seen as failure rather than part of the learning process, right? Failure teaches valuable lessons and builds resilience. So let's go with the last one here. Lack of confidence. Inexperience or limited skills can lead to hiding instead of trying. Confidence grows through action, not avoidance. All right. Taking small steps, sharing your music with trusted people is probably the best thing you can do. Group of like-minded individuals who want to achieve the same outset, and you guys are sharing and giving each other feedback. I strongly do not encourage you to seek validation or seek feedback from friends and family, because they will just tell you what you want to hear all the time, and that's not good for you. Sometimes you need to be told that ain't it. You need to go practice a little bit more, work a little bit more. Not what we want to hear, but when we hear it, we take it in and we do what we need to do. Practice a little bit more. We need to show up for ourselves, right? Start with rough drafts and perfection comes later. Don't try to make a miracle song, or don't try to make a hit banger in one sitting. Be realistic, right? Baby steps, come up with a few parts, shelve it, come back to it. You don't have to swing for the fences and be Babe Ruth every time you sit down to create something. You know, we've all heard the stories of somebody writing something down on a napkin and 8 years later it becomes a song. That may be what it takes. Time is our best friends, not minutes and seconds, not instants. Nothing is done in an instant. Like I said before, share unfinished work to get feedback, not approval. That's a dangerous thing. Seeking out people that are gonna listen and just give you the thumbs up, the pat on the back, that's not always good, because that gaslights people. We all see the results of that when you see people on American Idol who sing poorly and they shouldn't be there in the first place. That's a result of people getting approval and not feedback. So get people together who will give you some feedback, not approval. Focus on progress, not perfection. Slow steps, baby steps. 1% at a time, growth over a year is best, right? Because it's steady and you know you're growing. You gotta be uncomfortable with being comfortable. Sorry, I said that in reverse. Dyslexia here. It's very important that you are comfortable being uncomfortable. This is going to allow you to put yourself in positions where you're going to learn and grow, rather than hiding and cowering away from what I call stretch assignments or growth assignments. We need those things. Those things help build character and growth. And if we don't know what we're doing wrong, we don't know what we're doing right. Okay, so mistakes are proof you're growing. Don't let fear hold you back. Always, always, always work on yourself. Be honest, be transparent, be accountable, and don't seek approval, seek feedback, right? So leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. And like this, and most importantly, subscribe. Help me get to over 1,000 subscribers in 2025. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.